Jared, will you say something?
Hey,
Great.
Not seeing the
Dwight?
stream yet. Okay, it came up. Let's see what we hear. I heard Jared. I heard me.
Good. Let us jump right in. This is The Dying of the Light, Season 3 of the Starfall Collective. The Starfall Collective is a collaborative storytelling group using the Dungeons and Dragons game system as a vehicle for creating rich and compelling stories in a fictional world that we've been developing together for a while. You can find out more about the collective as well as the stories we're telling at thestarfallcollective.com. We are back with a new episode. Let's find out who's in this episode. I am Sir Robert Burbridge, a father and entrepreneur, and I'm the host of this season's story, which means I have created the world, written the story that the players are playing in, but I do not know what the players will do. With me tonight are a few friends playing the characters in this drama. They don't know the story, but they're the ones who choose their actions, and therein lies the fun. So please say your name, something about yourself if you like, and a brief description of the character you're playing. We'll start maybe with Jared.
hey, my name's Jared. I am playing Yoshka. He is kind of a wandering minstrel who, until fairly recently, thought of himself as carefree.
And Splint, you're next.
Hello, I am Jacob Burbridge. I will be playing Splint, who has recently rediscovered his flair for the artistic, particularly in the flute.
Okay. And Matt.
Hey, my name is Matthew Talamini. I'm a writer and web developer based in Providence, Rhode Island, and you can find my stuff at MatthewTalamini.com. That's Matthew TALAMINI.com. I play the shirtless wizard Diamondback, although right now I'm actually wearing a big fur coat from a dead friend.
Speaking of dead friends, Josh.
Hey, I want to say, first of all, to all my other actors, just impeccable performance. Didn't see a false note anywhere. And I want to say a first thanks to Sir Robert Burbridge, our director, creative genius, man, genius. So, hey, you, me, and the Bay of Monterey, right?
Again. Belvari.
Hi, I'm Belvari. And this week I'm sponsored by haircuts. I need one.
All right. And
Rather need is a strong word.
our resident enemy of haircuts, judging by his avatar, Patrick.
You beat me to that joke. I was working on something similar. My name is Patrick. I am no longer a faceless silhouette, and it feels great. And I will be playing the character of Toll. He is a half-orc.
All right. And Aaron Joy.
Erin Joy, I'm playing Neno. She's grandmotherly and she really wishes she could just put her feet up. It has been a slog.
All right. So, just a quick note to remind our characters that as you are playing, a terrific way to introduce your own backstory into the story is to tell it to the other characters. You know, as something comes up, you know, like, hey, you're a redhead? Hey, I'm a redhead, or whatever, right? That canonizes something about your character, or at least, at the very least, it canonizes something your character said. So, let's go ahead and get started. We had an eventful, in some ways, time last episode. The most important thing, so that I don't bury the headline, is that Gulb, who was a reanimated zombie, a shadow of his former self, de-animated in combat. He completely lost his now artificial animus. And unfortunately, because of the dire situation that these characters are in with the False Knight, they were unable to do anything for him. had just enough time to strip him of his goods and a bit of his flesh and run, sprinting towards their goal. Diamondback suggested perhaps they could pile some kind of cairn on him, as they did with Sleen. He didn't mention Sleen specifically, but there was no time, and it was dark and dangerous, and they went. After that, you'll remember they had an encounter with some wolves that went surprisingly well. Yoshka did a great performance speaking with animals, and an encounter that could have been quite deadly ended up actually being very brief and moving quickly along. So as we start right now, let me set the scene for you. I'll paint you a picture, as it were. You left the hut that you were in at what you thought probably should have been morning. At some point, you looked up through this dark, artificial, magic darkness that you're in, the blackness all around you, and you could see somewhat above you, 10, 15, 20 feet above you, lighter regions. However, as you've been walking, hour by hour, that lightness has receded further and further into the sky. By your reckoning, it should be something like early afternoon. However, that top surface of the dark has gone, it seems, past the upper canopy. You are engulfed in complete inky blackness. The forest, the wood that you're in, has been full of activity. Most of this activity was these little scrambling, animated, grassy plants. It's these little guys running around. They seem to have absolutely no sense of anything, really. They seem mindless, but have been scrambling around at, toe to ankle height, running around. It appears to be animated tufts and of grass. When the darkness got deeper, there were other somewhat larger creatures. They could have been taller grasses, monkey grass, stuff like that. But they also could have been things like small ferns and bushes running around. Fewer of them, but still plenty. As the darkness has grown up higher and higher, you have noticed larger and larger movement of plants. In particular, you came across one set of plants that did not seem to be so mindless. As a matter of fact, they were a kind of a gang of succulents and thorns that attacked you. When they attacked, you were able to defeat them. That was great. However, that was where I believe Gulb paid his price and you left him behind. In the darkness, you now have no idea what's happening. You are able to stay on the road. Diamondback has covered himself because, if you recall, he had cast perpetual flame on the tops of his shoulders. That caused him to be able to illuminate the darkness a little. He gave dim light for about 20 feet. However, during the Veggie Pygmy and Thorny, that's the D&D names for those who are interested, during the Veggie Pygmy and Thorny attacks, they were drawn to the light and began to attack. It did not seem as though they were angry about the light. They just were drawn to it. It was, stimulus. So, we ended last time with the note that you've been hearing motion, or maybe a better word is commotion, in the branches and leaves above you in the canopy above. It's hard to tell exactly what it is. It could be a bunch of things scrambling around. It could be one thing that's been following you. You're not sure. Whatever it is, it's making a fair bit of noise. It's not deafening by any means, but it's certainly not a squirrel. It's not a tiny thing, whatever it is. But all around you, you can hear movement and rustling of branches and leaves above. This night, this false night, though it should be early afternoon, has gotten a little quieter. The grasses that have been animated seem to have settled a bit. The bushes and shrubs are still moving around, but you aren't encountering quite as many of them. You have Neno, and just as a quick reminder, Neno, you left a little early. Aaron Joy, you left a little early. The party was able to catch up with you, and everybody's together. And you are now in the on the road traveling southward towards Miradau, Garriott's town. Your best guess, although it's really hard to tell, is that you're something like, I'm doing air quotes, a few hours from Miradau. Super hard to tell. Okay. Before we go any further, yes, thank you, Josh. Before we go any further, we are going to roll. Josh has a new character. We're not going to say anything about him because we will encounter him. I want everybody to have a fresh take when he does. Are you ready, Josh?
I sure am.
And if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, you have already done a character where you assigned the order.
Yes, I'm just going to overwrite those.
Yeah, so we're just going to get in order that you do it. Some prior character you chose which ones go where. So this one, we're just going to roll strength first.
Wow. Okay.
Hardcore.
All right.
This is real D&D.
You can't see all of those, so you can flip over a couple of those if you want when you move them.
That's right. Yeah. All right. So that's 14.
Pretty good.
We're gonna and just to let everybody know, we're rolling 4 dice and dropping the lowest.
Dropping whichever one you want.
Yeah, you can drop another one. Sure, I don't mind.
Okay, we have a legitimately cocked die in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right,
What
so I'm just trying to find. Okay,
again.
11, 12, 13, 14.
That's great.
Again,
2 14s is not a bad start.
Not a bad start at all.
All right.
Not bad.
Ooh.
15. Only going up.
Yeah. I have a feeling we'll be at 18s by the end.
Will he be a beefy boy?
So that was a 15 for charisma for our listening audience.
No.
For Constitution.
I'm sorry, Constitution. Yeah, thanks, Dwight.
Okay, and it takes a dive. Now we're down to 10.
10 for intelligence.
Yes.
Still
not
in
that
dumb
bad.
characters.
Average
I feel like
intelligence.
Wisdom.
Intelligence is really tough to play. Smarter
Okay,
character than yourself.
10, 14.
Wow. He's wise.
Very wise.
And let's get his charisma.
Please be high.
Not terrible. You got a 10. You're average.
10. All right.
Yeah, you don't have any below 10.
All right.
That's a great character. Nothing below a 10.
That's true. Very, very true.
If only
Hey,
he wasn't playing a charisma spellcasting class.
That's okay. That's quite all right.
I mean,
This
you
will
can
be
play
fun.
whatever class you want. You can switch to wisdom if you want.
Oh, no.
true.
I think I found there's actually rules about you have to have a certain score, like if it's your main spellcasting class, you have to have it 13 or higher.
Oh, so I have. Okay, Sir Robert, I can easily pivot and take a different class.
No.
That's also
Why don't we
primary
just,
spellcasting.
if you want, you can swap your wisdom and charisma.
Okay, I'll take that action.
I forgot, what was the wisdom before?
Yeah, I didn't re-roll anything, so
Yeah.
it was 14 and 10, so now it's 10 and 14.
Does that work for you?
Yeah, that works for me.
Deal.
The bare minimum threshold, but 14's the best I've got anywhere except for con, so I'm good.
Yeah, all right.
All right.
All right, let's take the monkey and run. So, we're going to start.
This'll fetch a fortune.
We are going to start with you have just left the wolves. You think, reasonably out of range of where they would be still considering you.
Can you re-describe those wolves? They were like...
Yeah, there were 2 wolves. Those are medium-sized creatures, so they're about the size of a regular wolf in our world. There were two of them who were devouring some sort of carrion in the road. Standing a little off to the side and not seeming to be involved in the carrion, there was a large creature, which was, in D&D terms, is called a dire wolf. And it seemed to be above, it seemed to be it seemed to be letting the younger wolves eat. Or, sorry, the smaller wolves eat. And then far away, about 30 feet from where they were, far away in terms of the darkness, you could just barely see when somebody held up some light. There was another kind called a guardian wolf. That one is a huge monstrosity. In terms of what you've encountered before, it was like one of those giant elk. Very, very tall. A good, maybe 20 feet, maybe 15, 20 feet tall.
Just an African bull elephant?
In wolf form, that's right.
Break me off a piece of that guardian wolf.
I want to ride that.
So, here's where we are. Behind you, maybe still, but behind you, to the north, are these wolves. The road it's slowly rolling. Remember, these are hills that are not steep. They're a slow kind of roll. A little bit east and west, a little bit up and down, but generally the road is going north-south. Behind you are the wolves. Ahead of you, you hope, somewhere is Miradau. Above you is rustling and noise that you've been hearing for a while and seems to be getting more active. And to your left and right are the darkness of the wood. What would you like to do?
Neno, I am hurt. Can you help me?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And she blunders her way toward him. And then while she's there, she takes a corner of her skirt and just ties it to the corner of his pants so that she can stay near him. Where are you hurt? What do you need?
Oh, right here in my leg. Can you see it?
No, I can feel it. Do you want me poking
yes.
around there?
It's very deep. Do you have anything for it? Any magics?
She believes she does, but she goes silent for a minute while she rummages in her bag by feel.
And Aaron, do you have your pouch open? Do you need help with this?
I think I do.
Okay. Just making sure that you didn't need
I
to do it.
Yes, I have almost what I need for cure wounds, and I have healing word. I definitely have healing word. Not sure which is better. Do you know, Yoshka?
Cure
Anybody know?
Is stronger.
Cure wound? Okay. Cure wounds. I have one of the ingredients. I need another. Anybody else have something useful for cure wounds?
Splint is gonna check his bag, but he doesn't seem to have anything on him. He's gonna be like, "Sorry, I don't have any of that stuff."
Toll does.
Are you willing to chip in?
Yeah, Toll will rummage about in his component pouch and pull out a down of a broad-backed falcon, and he will give this to Neno and say, "Use this to heal him."
And Patrick, your mic's a little hot. Can you turn it down just for me a little bit?
I will remove it from my face.
Okay.
Is that
Patrick,
better?
if you could just try to get that bad boy just right in your mouth when you're talking, just really give me everything you got. Okay,
Say something again, Pat.
Testing.
That's great. Thanks.
Okay.
So, what did you give to Neno?
I gave Neno a down of a broad-backed falcon.
Okay. Resume.
So if Aaron has a different one, that'll be 1d8 plus whatever her spellcasting modifier is. I don't know. Can you do that?
Sorry, I
Homer?
didn't realize I was muted. Yes, I do have a different one. I have 3 bark plus a wind branch peach tree. 3 bark of a wind branch peach tree. And 1d8. Who rolls it? Do I roll it because I'm casting? Does he roll it because it's on him?
Yeah, you roll it because you're casting.
Okay. All right.
And what's your class, Neno?
My class.
Yeah, what
I'm Forest Gnome Cleric.
cleric. Okay, good. So it's on class for you.
Okay. All right. I rolled an 8. What am I adding to this? Anything?
Spellcasting modifier.
On your D&D sheet, it is that little spell casting modifier under spells. In your case, it is +2. So 10 hit
Okay,
points.
then we've got a 10.
Great. Much better. Oh, thank you. Oh, it tingles.
If Diamondback sees this going on, he will give to Neno 1 Ichor of the Red-Ringed Cicada, which just has 1 spell on it, and it's the level 1 Cure Wounds.
Do you need anything, Diamondback? I'm here, or are you just stalking me up?
I think it would be good for you to be able to cast that spell again.
Thank you.
Okay, let's try to get to Miradau.
Toll's going to concur with that, actually. I've got 10 of those downs. I will give her 5 of them.
Awesome.
Wow.
Thank you. I have 3 barks, so we are now able to do that 4 times.
Great.
Yeah, cool.
Great.
So Yoshka implored everyone to continue towards Miradau. Everybody on board for that?
Absolutely.
Yes, definitely.
So
I also have tethered Orden to me.
yeah, okay. So you continue along. Tell me your walking order. I know that Neno, you're going to be a little bit behind Yoshka because you're tethered to him, and Orden's behind you. But where is everybody else?
I'll be at the back.
Okay.
I'm first with the Circle of the Night Watch torch.
Okay. And you're using it actively?
Yeah,
Okay.
I
Yoshka,
just decremented one.
Neno is next. Orden is next, and I've got y'all kind of together there. Who is after Neno?
I have Orden on my shoulders, and I think Toll had Neno on his shoulders.
Previously?
We were like
Oh.
doing a hearty jog.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's good. Neno, do you want to be walking tethered to Yoshka, or do you want to be on? Okay. So we've got Yoshka first, having Orden on his shoulders. Who's next?
I guess Splint will be next.
Splint. Go, keep going.
Toll, where's Toll?
Previously, he was right behind Splint in the previous
Okay.
episode.
Yeah, he's comfortable wherever.
Okay.
Diamondback wants to be in the middle. So I'll be with the main group sort of in the middle behind Yoshka.
Okay. So we're going to go Yoshka, Diamondback, Splint, Toll, and Neno are together. Toll's a big half-orc carrying Neno. And then finally pulling up the rear is Belvari.
That sounds fine.
I think you mean a kind of big half orc.
What kind of is it?
He's not that big.
It's not really big. Like a real orc.
Big orc.
Okay. So you guys,
Words mean things, you know.
you're traveling single file. I would like for you to spend just a minute, not a full minute necessarily, but just a few moments. I want you to tell me what you're trying to do as you walk. So, for example, you could say things like, I'm walking along and listening for sounds, or I'm trying not to fall. And I'll give you, you can't be doing like, and I'm doing everything necessary to be safe, right? It has to be a thing you're kind of focusing on. Why don't you tell me that, if you don't mind? Yoshka, we'll just go in order. Yoshka, what are you doing? You got your Circle of the Night Watch?
Yeah, I'm looking out, and as much as I'm able to, I'm both looking out and like setting the pace with some song,
Okay.
so we can go fast.
Watching and singing.
Yeah,
I know, and pace setting. Diamondback?
Diamondback, we've been along this road before, right? We headed out this way.
That's right.
So he is trying to understand the road based on his memories, or figuring out exactly where they are, and to prevent getting lost or anything like that. I'm hoping that this will be like history or investigation or something.
So I'm taking notes on this, but you're trying to track the party's position on the
Yeah,
board.
I'm trying to navigate if I can.
Yeah, please roll me a
That's a good idea.
history check. But hold on one second. Roll me a history check. Yeah.
Here goes. 16.
Okay. Splint, what are you doing? What are you focusing on as y'all are running? This is a little bit tense, so y'all are moving through the night. What are you working on, Splint?
All right, Splint is going to notice that there's some tenseness everywhere, and he's going to try and alleviate that tenseness with a well played song in accompaniment with Yoshka's singing.
Oh no.
And how loudly are you trying to play? Really loud, just enough for you to hear? What?
It's probably, I'm going to say, around the level of Yoshika's singing, like not too loud as to like let everyone know we're coming, but not too quiet so that only I can share this beautiful cacophony of noises that I've crafted.
Okay. Sounds
That's
good.
dangerous. There's a lot of frequencies in that pipe. That's just the same as wounded animals.
And Splint,
True.
what is it you're trying to do with that? With this, let's call it music.
Yoshika's singing a song so that we can all keep track, but I am trying to play the flute in a sort of not merry tone, but like alleviating tone. Like,
It's going to be okay.
yeah, everything's gonna be okay.
All right.
Except
Roll me a deception check.
This really
Deception
sounds
check?
like it's not going to be okay.
All right.
I feel
But
like he's
don't
not
worry.
deceiving us.
I'm
because of
going
the
to make
sound.
friends with these wolves.
Okay.
15.
A 15 on your deception check.
15.
Okay. And Toll, what are you working on?
Toll, with all 9 of his dexterity, is really worried about not falling and throwing Neno to the ground by accident.
Okay.
Mm.
Do me a favor then and roll me give me let's just do a general athletics check.
Okay. I got a 4.
Oh no, bad news for me.
Okay. And Belvari.
Belvari's trying to make sure nobody falls behind, and also he's picking up tiny little rocks and throwing them at Splint's flute, trying to like clog one of the holes.
Okay. Sounds good. And for that, please roll me especially the watching the rear. Please roll me a perception check.
How's a 4?
It's awesome. Okay, I'm going to use those rolls to sort of govern what's going on here, just to let you know that's kind of what you're doing recently. So you're walking along. You hear occasional things off to the side. You'll remember that previously, not very long ago, before the wolves, I think, you had seen some flashes of light off to your left as you're traveling southward on this road. The flashes of bright white light, a strange light. There were several of them that seemed to be moving, and then it was no more. You've been hearing animals, or maybe not animals, strange things that seem like large fights. Sometimes individual animals like fighting one-on-one, it seemed like. Other times you're pretty sure you've heard 100, 200 feet off into the distance on one side or the other, possibly dozens or hundreds of animals or creatures clashing about. The little small planty creatures that have been running around your ankles are still running there. There's not quite as many of them at this moment, and they're making a lot less noise, so you can hear a bit better. You travel for about... Sorry, they're just waiting for that. You travel for, say, 20 minutes this way, maybe 20, 25 minutes. It's hard to tell, but Yoshka's singing actually is helping you keep a better sense of the time that's passing. You do know, because you recognize, Diamondback, a few of the twists and turns. You'll remember there was a hairpin turn where you previously met Garriott, for example. You recognize a few of those kinds of things and are pretty sure that you are still north of Miradau, which is comforting to some extent. Occasionally, you hear something off to the side, and I'm going to mute myself so I can dump out my dice. You hear something off to one side or the other, and it causes you different kinds of reactions. Right now, you start hearing a little bit ahead of you and to your right, which is to say, since y'all are traveling south, to your right is the west. You hear this something like a groaning. It's not a growl. It's not a creature it's not a bear going "Arr" or something like that. It's got this long, drawn out groan, kind of creaking sound that's hard to put your finger on. It's not something you're really familiar with. It stops after a few moments, but it definitely is something large, something not huge, not like the giant wolf that you were looking at before, but you can tell whatever it is bigger than you, say. You travel on for a little bit. Sorry, Aaron Joy, you're muted, I think.
Nino, riding on Toll, has been pulling out her daycare skills and is just counting heads as best she can by sound, which means she's pretty tuned into the sounds. And as now that she's heard the groan, is really trying to figure out if this is a fleshy kind of meat source, or is this like a tree that is splitting or leaning over? What's the...
Roll me a nature
Tumbra.
check with disadvantage.
Okay.
Way to hold the DM's feet to ultimate CSI 20 questions Coles. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Good question.
Ooh.
All right. Well, I got a 21 and 11.
Okay, we'll take the 21. Neno.
Wait, disadvantage? Don't I take the worst one?
Oh, I'm sorry. 11. That's right. I said disadvantage, not advantage. The 11. Okay. Neno, you're not sure. However, you get the impression that it is not... What's the word I'm thinking of? I have this word. You get the impression that it is not entirely... Here we go. It does not seem to be a sort of accidental thing. It seems there's something is doing this, making the sound. It seems a little too purposeful to be like a random, something falling over. That's about what you can tell with an 11. But you think there might be something over there. You've all slowed down because the creaking, the sort of moaning sound was certainly loud. Everybody heard it. And so you've all slowed down to, Yoshka, you're taking a look around, trying to make sure you understand what the threat is. But after a moment, if y'all are willing, you'll continue on. Do you want to keep going or try to go off into the woods and investigate?
No.
Okay.
I think keep going. Yeah, I think keep going.
Yeah, I think based on that slight investigate,
I don't want to railroad you. I just...
if you want to commit suicide, this is a perfectly good opportunity to TPK. There's the diving board, there's the rocks. Anyone who wants to take the Etta stoop.
So you continue along, and you pick up your pace back to where it was before. Yoshka, you continue doing your song, but you lower the volume a little bit just to be sure. but you need everybody to be able to follow you. You're the only one who can see. You go more, and you hear again, this time on the other side, this kind of moaning, creaking, groaning sound, like a if it's a creature, it might be having a voice that's cracking or something. You hear several of them, and then you hear a few more, and you start to very subtly. Actually, there's one of you in particular, Diamondback. You start to feel something unusual in the ground. Like you're trying to pay attention to the road and really understand what's happening here. And it's not like you're feeling vibrations. It's not like, it's not thump, thump, thump or anything like that. But when you hear these moaning sound, these sort of moaning sounds, you're also feeling something strange in the ground under you. Do you want to?
Yeah. I think, I want to try and figure out what it is.
Okay. Why don't you roll me an investigation check?
Very good. Haha. I rolled a 17 plus 4 is 21.
You have an insight as you're traveling along. And this is you have a hard time putting it into words at first because it's not exactly what it's not something you're normally used to. But your insight is that when this groaning happens, it seems as though the soil of the road is loosening a little bit or shifting a little under your foot, almost like you're walking on sand for a moment, but you're not. It's still the ground. But you can tell that, and also you can tell that the edges of the road especially shift slightly. When I say slightly, I mean not like 10 feet or something, but like there's variation. You can hear some motion in the dirt. You can see things. Do you want to?
Neno leans it down to Toll. Oh, no, Neno doesn't know this yet. Sorry, never mind.
Yeah.
I'm going to put one hand on Yoshka's shoulder to stop him, and then I'm going to reach up and touch the lantern that he's got so that I'll be able to see.
I'll stop for a minute and go with that.
And then I want to look around and see if I notice anything with that extra feet of sight that might
have any of you are all of you dropping to silence as this happens? Are any of you saying or doing anything?
I mean, none of us know why he's doing it, do we?
No.
Yeah,
just
no.
Nino and Diamondback, who are up front, stop.
Okay. So everybody stops, and you've gotten very still and quiet as something's happening. You're not sure. Nobody can see anything right now except for Yoshka and Diamondback. Diamondback, as you look around and you're waiting for a moment, you don't hear any moaning, and then you do, off to the right. You hear a little bit far away, but not too far, 15 feet, 20 feet off the side of the road. You hear this kind of moaning again, and you see what you think is a little bit of rustling on the edge of the road. It does not seem to be... the edge of the road is only about 6 or 8 feet from you. Right? It's a narrow road-ish. It does not seem to be what the moaning is coming from. You're not sure how it's related. You, standing there touching the torch in the center of the road, can't get a clear view of it. You could go over to it, but if you let go of the torch, you won't be able to see.
Right. So I say in a voice pitched for Yoshka to hear clearly, and maybe the others who are close by to hear as well, but not a full speaking voice.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be heard by things far away. I say, something strange is happening to the road. It's shifting in some way. I don't know what it is. It may have something to do with the voices that we're hearing right now.
You think we should hold the rope again?
It may be a good idea to join each other in a more tangible way.
Okay. I'll get out that length of rope we used and
We're going to
have
preschool
everybody.
it.
And so there'll be about 3 feet between you. You're going to need about 15 feet of rope. There's 3 feet between you for the 5 of you. A little bit of room to move around. And what do you want to do? So you grab the rope, Yoshka. You're at the front. You've got it held in hand, I suppose. And then it's on, let's say, the left-hand side. I assume you're holding your torch in the right hand. Okay, so it's on your left-hand side, running down. Everybody, you're free to grab it on the left or right, but there's this rope being passed back, and you whisper to each other, "Take the rope," this kind of thing. What now?
Run on.
Did you say burn the rope?
No, take the rope.
Oh.
So here's what I would like to do. As we go, I want to do the following thing. My snake staff can turn into a flying snake.
Mm-hmm.
Flying snakes have blind sight to 10 feet.
Okay.
And what I would want it to do is so I'm going to, command it. It's not very smart, and I can't I just want it to sort of crawl along the road and sort of go back and forth, maybe 2 or 3 times from one side of the road, and then cross back to the center to the other side of the road, and then back to the center.
Mm-hmm.
Ahead of us, maybe 10 feet ahead of us.
Flying or slithering?
Slithering,
Okay.
and then fly back, and then I guess the idea will be that it will fly right back to me and turn into a staff if it senses any danger while doing that.
Okay. And
it's along the ground, so my hope is that its blind sight and being on the ground will give it a sense if, for instance, some kind of crazy mole people are about to pop up from underground and assault us in some way.
If it senses such, it should come back to you as an alarm, kind of. Okay.
It should come back to me right away so that we can get a surprise round on the things because we know that they're coming.
Okay, sounds good. So,
Can it slither faster than we're jogging?
Not to put too fine a point on it.
Its motion is...
Its speed is about the same as us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, the forest seems to also be responding to these groanings. Everything has gotten more still, and you're not exactly sure why. The seemingly chaotic brawls that you've heard among the creatures have, by this time, have died to very close to none. You still hear occasional noises, but the forest has gotten still. The groaning has increased in frequency, and you notice a scent that's actually fairly familiar. And Toll, I'd like you to roll a, let's call it a history check.
Okay. That was a 9. I've rolled a 2 and a 6 so far.
Wow. And your mic's still a little hot, if you'll grab that.
Really?
So, 9's enough. You recognize the scent. It's almost like fresh lumber. You're not sure exactly what. The rest of you smell it too, though you may not have exactly put your finger on it, what it is. So you're moving along, you're going at your clip, and you've been traveling for another, 30 minutes, 20 minutes. And now you're hearing these groanings increasing in frequency. Previously it was, one off to the right, and then a minute or so later off to the left, this kind of thing. But you can always hear something now from somewhere. There's this motion above you, you're still hearing. You don't know what that is above you, and off to the sides you can hear more and more. The noise has become cacophonous. It's not deafening, but it is certainly making it harder to hear anything else.
So while we've been traveling, Neno has been pulling out every fairy tale she's ever heard, which has been decades worth of fairy tales. And she's remembering a tune, a song, a chant like that kids would jump rope to. And the lumber and the creaking sounds reminded her of it. And it goes something like this. The trees drink water, 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 never evil, evil, evil. When the evil waters rise, the forests level, 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 and they will carry, 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 never tarry, 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 and will find the good water where the good light grows. And now that she is chanting that along in her head to whatever pace Yoshka is jogging the mat, and she finds that she's been murmuring it over and over again, so it's probably now floating around in Toll's head. But all of that, she's coming to the conclusion that the trees themselves, not just the little plants and not just the shrubs and succulents and thorn bushes, but the trees of this lower canopy themselves are breaking and leaving and dying or moving. She thinks it's the roots underground that are trying to uproot themselves to go away from this dark and find light somewhere.
Do you convey that to anybody?
Just to Toll.
Just okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say Toll definitely would have been like, I'd like you to explain yourself and give some detail.
So she explains what she's thinking about that poem, and tells it to him.
Okay. Now, you have an increasing sense of unease as you all travel. Neno, you mentioned that to Toll. Toll is considering, weighing what you say. And sorry, just because I haven't heard from everybody in a while, is everybody still here?
Yeah.
I am here.
Everybody's still here.
Jacob, you there?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm here.
Awesome. Okay. You're going along, and suddenly you hear, unlike the other sounds, the sort of groaning and moaning that you hear this kind of booming, crashing sound coming off to the side. It's got to be a good 80, 100 feet away. It doesn't seem like imminent danger to you, but something seems to be just making a large crashing sound. Far, far away, it's hundreds of feet. You can't tell for sure in the darkness, but it's very dim. You hear another similar one of these. You continue jogging on, and to your surprise, you suddenly hear a great tumult, just a huge noise, almost directly above you. It's probably directly above the road. It's probably a couple, maybe 100 feet ahead of you in the darkness, and there's a rain that hits all around you of small twigs and branches and other things you can't tell exactly what they are. It seems like from the trees above, twigs, branches, maybe nuts or like acorns or something, you're not sure, are kind of falling as you hear this sound. Also, you hear a low growling and some words that you can't quite make out. Josh, do you know what those words are?
Yeah. You hear a voice like a little old halfling lady singing, "When the evil river floods, the trees are trying to flee. When the evil river floods, the trees are trying to flee." It's just this very faint, quavering voice.
And so you hear this voice, and then you also hear at the same time, it's the weirdest thing. this growling is below, and up in the trees, you hear what you can only describe, and this is your best guess at trying to figure out what it is. You can only describe as the howls and screams of orcs, humans, halflings, other creatures. You can recognize a few badgers and other birds in the treetops screaming, and who knows how many of them. It could be a dozen. It's hard to tell. It's the most bizarre thing. And you hear fewer and fewer and fewer and fewer while the groaning that you've been hearing increases, and you hear crackling and twisting. And then there are no more sounds from the orcs and humans and bears and other things in the trees in front of you. But you do still hear the growling on the ground and the low singing. And suddenly you see a small torch. It's only about 40 feet ahead of you. It's not illuminating anything, it's too far away, but you can see a light swinging as though swinging at something. It's on the ground, and you can't tell what's going on.
I'm going to pick up to full running pace to approach to within about, 40, 50 feet of it.
You're about 40 feet away now.
Probably within 20 feet, because that's about how far I can see.
Mm-hmm.
Or, no, you're saying we can see the torch.
It's like a little
From
spot
about
of
40
light.
feet
It's not illuminating anything, but you can see. It's almost like a candle far away, right? It's not a candle, but
Is Yoshka able to see anything in the trees?
No, the light illuminates 20 feet, and the trees are 40, 50 feet tall.
Okay,
How,
that's what I
how
thought.
far
I
do we
figured it was
think
worth
we
asking.
are from? How far do we think we are from the town?
Meridell.
Roll me everybody who wants to take a guess on this, your best guess, roll me an investigation check with disadvantage.
Huh?
Toll has no idea where this place even is, so he'll sit this one out.
Mm-hmm.
Ouch.
17.
Diamondback doesn't know.
Got a 7.
17.
17 too.
That's with disadvantage.
Okay, Yoshka, are
Yeah.
you trying to determine this? How far you are from Mirdow?
No.
Okay. Splint, you're pretty sure that you're only 3 days away. You've never been there before, and you're not sure where you're going, but you rolled really well.
I just
What about-
instinctively know. Oh yeah, we're like 3 days. It's
Yeah.
just like me saying a random number and actually turning out to be right.
Ish.
Belvari also got a 17.
You did. Belvari, your guess is you're about an hour. You're close now.
Okay, Belvari would like to turn into an ankylosaurus and then start picking people up in front of him onto his back.
Yes.
And,
He is
and remember
small.
this, you can carry about 2 people like that, the size of you. Remember, you're not a
Yeah.
huge one. You're horse-ish
Right.
size.
I'm hoping that when I get to Diamondback, he might make me bigger.
This is how we're going to introduce ourselves to this, whatever it is out there.
Okay, Yoshka, you started running forward.
Yeah, and I'm going to say, friend, Yoshka the Bard and his friends are coming.
And do you
Come
drop
with
the
us
rope?
to the village. No.
Okay, the rope suddenly pulls forward, and those of you who are holding on to it either can hold on to it or not. You can let go. Toll, you're not expecting it, and being not very dexterous recently, feeling like maybe a 4 out of 7, you accidentally let go of the rope, and the others continue past you. You can still hear them. There's a sense of this. Yoshka, what did you say? Into the darkness?
Well, I was speaking to the torchlight,
Yeah.
and this, which is, so the torchlight and the song were coming from the same place, right?
Right.
And the growling was coming from around there too.
That's right.
And then there's the screaming stop. Okay, so to the torchlight, I'm saying, "Friend, Yoshka the Bard and his travelers are coming. Let's get to the nearest village."
And as you get closer, Yoshka...
What are you facing?
Sorry. What was the last thing you said?
What are you facing?
And as you get closer, Yoshka, you can... Just you can see, because you've got the special light. Josh, why don't you tell them what they see as they get closer to you? There is, and I'll just tell you real quickly, there is a wildcat, either a tiger or something like that. It's too dark to be able to tell for sure. The growling that you were hearing was that low, throaty growl of a wild cat. And it is prowling back and forth, avoiding the fire that's swinging. Josh, what do they see?
They see a little halfling lady cowering back in a corner. I guess they probably need to all make intelligence checks, though, for that. So, Robert, do you want me to talk to you in the DM chat about
why don't
things?
you do that?
Okay.
We'll be right back, guys. What you got?
Hey, so Inkatink is hidden, and if they want to pass a certain DC to spot him, that's great. But what he's put out there, plain and obvious for everybody to see, is an illusion of a little halfling lady. An illusion only has visual. He is making the sound with his own voice.
Like a ventriloquism.
With his ventriloquism. So he's making some kind of performance check to do this, I guess.
Okay, and you're badly hurt, remember, because you fell?
Right.
So you're not able to just run, right? That's why you've got this illusion. I'm trying to make sure.
Yeah. So he's hurt really badly. What they will see if they do spot him is someone who's basically piled a bunch of moss and sticks and bramble and brush over himself. And then he's in a kind of inconspicuous in the shadows area. And then in like a little bowl or a clearing, he has used a couple of cantrips to make like some little glowing mushrooms pop up in an area and make it look like there's just a little shelter, a rundown little hut or a hovel.
Okay.
And a little halfling lady in it.
I'm going to give this tell me if this sounds about right to you, a DC 18 perception.
Okay.
To detect you.
Yeah, I mean, I've spent a lot of time and effort, so I'd take that action. That sounds pretty fair to me.
All right, let's pop back in.
Okay.
I'm a druid. I just hit level 2, so do
So
I
once you
pick
hit
my
level 3,
affinity?
No, you level at a long rest. That's a game rule we're using. It's old AD&D stuff.
I have a
Okay.
question.
That was why I didn't pick that last week. I was wondering why.
I have a question, Mr. DM. A real quick question. Can we because I cast Enlarge Reduce on Belvari before to help us get through this tunnel, right?
Yeah.
After that, can I have scrounged through the party's shared component pouch to grab a couple components to replenish my ability to cast that spell again?
Who
Or
has
is that-
Who has the component pouch?
It's on my backpack.
Okay. Yeah, you can do one more.
Okay.
that
Well,
sound good?
I wanted to grab two sets of components out of the pouch, like last time, when we regrouped or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, it's done. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, so I would like everybody. I'm going to narrate this. So what you see is this elderly halfling woman standing in the road, and she's facing this prowling wild cat. You can't tell exactly. It could be a tiger or a puma. You're not sure. It's too dark. It seems to be keeping its distance because she's waving a very dim dim light. You thought that it was probably a torch, but now that you're a little bit closer, you can see that it's a lantern. I'm going to wait just a second for Android to come back if she's reconnecting, just so she doesn't miss anything.
Yeah.
While that's happening, I would like for each of you to roll me, please, a perception check.
Belvari was sort of panicked and turned into an ankylosaurus. I don't know how perceptive he is. He's mostly just trying to get people onto his back.
Toll got a 6. Toll is not having a good day.
I got half of that.
Splint has a 3. Diamondback?
19.
And
16.
Nano, Yoshka has a 16. Nano, we just rolled a perception check while you were
Thank
gone.
you. My thing shut down. Can somebody roll me a perception check?
Yeah.
I have an actual dice. I don't have D&D Beyond up.
Why don't you roll your die, and I'll add your perception
Thank you.
modifier.
Got a 7.
Okay, and you're +2, so you got a 9.
Okay, thanks.
And Belvari, I don't know what an... I can pull it up, though. Give me 1 sec. It is arriving.
I keep my things unless.
Oh, you keep your stats. Okay. In that case, you can roll it with disadvantage.
Okay.
Since you're in the middle of transmogrifying.
Dino powers activate.
So 15.
Okay, a 15. Let's see, and let me transition that real quickly. There we go. Diamondback, please join.
Disadvantage got rid of a natural 20 for me. Just
Oh,
people
brutal.
know.
Diamondback, join me in the DM chat for a sec.
Absolutely. Hi.
Hey. You're looking around and you see something the others don't see, which is, first of all, something's a little bit off about the scene, though you're not exactly sure what. And you also notice maybe you're not sure what it is, but it might be a den, like a little beaver den type of thing, a little piling of brambles and moss on the side of the road. It's not very big. It certainly wouldn't fit, like you couldn't fit in it, but it's out of place. It's not normally there, and it's, close to this cat prowling at the halfling. So that's what you notice.
Like a den.
Well, I'm just describing it as like a little pile of twigs and moss and stuff, but it doesn't look like moss growing on a rock. It's somebody's put it
It's
there.
artificial.
Yeah, it's
Somebody has
artificial.
Put it there.
Yeah, it could be. You don't know what the halfling could live there, which would be super weird. You don't remember it from before. Anyway, that's what you see.
Okay.
Penny's worth $1, and then pushed everything around that.
Then you would ruin everything.
So, you guys see this.
So, guys, I froze a couple times there. What were we checking?
You
I
don't know
rolled a
yet.
dice to check something.
I
Why?
was talking to Matt.
Yeah, you don't know yet what you were checking.
Okay, but before that,
We stopped so that you could have a chance to reconnect.
I rolled something, and then we had to add something to it,
Yeah.
and I didn't know what I was rolling or why.
Yeah, nobody does. It
Okay.
was
It's a
It was a
perception
perception check, and if you perceived something, you perceived something. Only Diamondback did, and I just told him it in the other chat. So here's what you guys see. You get closer, and all of you kind of, when Yoshika stops and is close enough to see, you all kind of stop with him. Ankylosaurus, Belvari, I guess you kind of stop too.
I'm
You
still trying
are.
to gather people on my back.
Say it again.
I'm still trying to gather people on my back,
Okay.
sticking my head up and tossing.
So you see this wildcat that is certainly looking hungry and making this kind of throaty growling sound that cats can make. And it is pacing back and forth, keeping distance. The little halfling old woman who's making a singing a very weak song, and it's strange, and she's out of place here, but here she is in this night, is holding what you thought was a torch, but is actually, it looks like a lantern that is casting very little light. It is not illuminating much of anything, but you can see it. I mean, you can see it, and she's basically lit up.
Since Toll dropped the rope, he'll just go towards the light that he sees. He figures that's where Yoshka was leading them.
Okay. It takes you a minute, but you catch up. You and Neno catch up, and you see what they see.
Cool. Am I still too loud, or is it better?
It's better. Thank you.
Okay.
When Belvari nuzzles Diamondback's leg and sort of gestures to get up, Diamondback climbs up on the top of the Ankylosaurus and gives Belvari's dog a pat, who's probably also up there.
Good. And y'all can, if anybody else wants to, you are able to climb up on top of the Ankylosaurus. Also, Yoshka, you have Orden on your shoulders right now. It would be probably prudent for him to be somewhere.
I'll put him on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
And if I may, I'll take off the Circle of the Night Watch so the cat and the lady can see us.
Mm-hmm.
And then I will cast Animal Friendship on the tiger cat thing.
Okay. Sounds good. And I'm going to search for that. I just want to see how that works. Yoshka.
For intelligence 4, if its intelligence is 4 or higher, it automatically fails.
Okay.
Otherwise, it rolls a wisdom saving throw, or it's charmed for 24 hours.
Give me 1 second, and I will tell you. All right. I forget that sometimes D&D doesn't have every kind of animal. It's not like every variation.
All right, this is pangolin panic all over again. I'm telling you, people, there's a splat book for every animal that anyone has ever imagined. It's a splat book entry.
I don't know what that means.
What's Splat Book?
Splat books were some of the earliest augmentations to the rules of these core game systems, where you would get original publisher endorsed secondary content, and it would be meant to be like maybe in a particular campaign setting or whatever, like these rules would apply. And you would get like new classes, new spells, new magic items, things like that. Those were splat books. They were, floppy, wobbly, not hardback bound publishings.
It's like expansions.
Expansions, additions, kind of like DLC, like original, like one-off.
Paper DLC.
Yeah, one-off dungeons, like self-contained campaigns and stuff like that. I think those would be considered part of the splat book segment.
Yoshka, what is your wisdom? What's the DC on your spell?
Let's see. Maybe it will say on spells. Modify. 14.
Safe DC.
14.
Okay.
Nice.
You do not charm it, but you are able to persuade it that you don't mean it any harm.
Okay. I will toss it a ration if I have any jerky or anything like that.
Do you?
Yeah.
Great.
Sure.
Do you decrement it by 1 if you do? And
I have rations. It just doesn't specify what kind of food it is.
Yeah, we'll say it is food. Yeah, that sounds good.
Meat-ish that animals would...
Yeah. He's the biggest guy. You've probably got what's left of Gold's elk meat.
Yep.
And then I'll say, Grandma, come get on the dinosaur. We need to get out of here.
Isn't the dinosaur full up?
Yeah,
It's probably about full.
She's a halfling, right?
I think.
But I'll get down and gesture to her to help her up if she would like.
The cat, the wild cat, is sniffing and eating a little bit of the rations, but also is wary of all of you. It knows that Yoshka is doesn't mean it any harm. Josh, will you narrate a little bit of what happens here?
Yeah, so you see the little halfling lady kind of lose focus, lose purpose, like she's just kind of now in a more like kind of a bizarrely neutral facial expression for the situation. And you see her kind of float over towards the brush. And as she's floating in the direction of the brush, she's just kind of dissipating into vapor. And you see instead that light is just kind of glowing in the area. And it illuminates this small, very, very badly injured raven person thing. It looks like a cross between a raven and a person. Pretty much a raven, but it's a humanoid. It doesn't have wings. You can see it's kind of like clutching some large palm frond to itself to cover most of itself. And other than that, he's got a bunch of just scrub and grass and dirt piled up on top of him. But you can see him kind of propping up on one elbow. And he says, "Can I just say, enchanted to meet you. Hope you're a fan. But how about a head?"
Oh, yes, of course. Told you want to help me with him? Let's get him on the dino.
Sure.
And you see his head kind of swiveling around a little bit, trying to like look at every single person all at once.
I'm trying to balance Neno on my shoulders while I help this creature up.
Yeah, I've gotten down off of the dinosaur and am also helping the creature up onto the dinosaur.
So that means...
And saying...
Sorry, go ahead.
Saying, Neno, this crow raven creature seems to be in bad shape. Do you want to use one of those spells?
Yeah, absolutely. And also I've climbed up onto the dinosaur so I can pull the raven creature up. Yep. Friend, are you willing? Can I touch you with this healing spell?
Go on, touch me, babe. It's
okay.
It's in the same. You recognize if you want to make some sort of insight check that it sounds pretty similar to the voice that you said. Hey, can I just say, enchanted to meet you. Hope you're a fan. So just so you know.
Yep. Cool. So she does. So I do. I'm decrementing now.
And
so they help.
It looks at you and says, "Oh my goodness, aren't you a nice one? You're a friendly one, aren't you?" In that kind of same voice of the halfling from before. Go ahead.
So you've helped this strange bird person onto the back of this giant lizard with you, and I'm semi-canonically referring to all such dinosaur creatures as giant lizards, so that the listening audience hears something not quite as modern scientific. In there,
take that, Jack Horner.
That's right. And this strange bird creature says, "Take that, Jack Horner." It is making these odd sounds. You don't know what's going on. But Neno, in the darkness here, crushes her components and casts Cure Wounds, I think it was.
Yep.
Cast Cure Wounds. How many hit points do you heal when you do that?
I don't know.
1d8 plus 2.
Okay, thank you.
We have a D8.
9.
Nice.
9 hit points.
Yeah, I fully heal.
So up ahead, you
hold on. Before we move on,
mm-hmm.
I'm actually going to try to cast Animal Friendship on that tiger cat again while it's eating.
Okay.
So it has to make another DC 14.
For the charm?
Yeah.
Okay. And he made a 9. So he didn't make it. So it is charmed.
Okay. Then I'm going to cast Speak with Animals, so I can just simply say, like, join our pack. We will feed you.
Okay. Yoshka, this creature, I'm just reading the text of Charm just to let our listening audience know. A charmed creature can't attack the charmer or target the charmer with harmful abilities or magical effects. The charmer has advantage on any ability checks to interact socially with the creature. And I just want to make sure I'm pointing out with clarity so that you know, Jared, and I don't know whether Yoshka knows this, you can interpret that this creature, this is a leopard, won't attack you.
Okay.
You ask it to do that in exchange for food, and it seems to agree. It's not talkative. It's more of a cat, and walks in front of you. Now, up ahead, you see, not very far ahead.
And I'll tell the group so they know.
Sorry, go. Yeah, do that.
I'll just say, I think he will help us. I'll let him go first, but keep a distance.
It looks to you like this bird thing, person, whatever, has fallen along with a bunch of branches and what, as best you can tell, is maybe just what's the word? Debris out of the tree. It is a lot of branches, twigs, vines, and in the dim light, you can see that there are also other, like there's little rocks and pebbles. It's a strange thing you're seeing all around. There is also quite a bit of blood, and you see a few other creatures like this one.
Oh.
What happened, Crow? Is there any of your friends left?
I think it kind of looks at you and cocks its head, and I don't know if you would make an insight check or an animal handling check to try to figure out a read on his emotions, but you see him twitching a lot.
Yeah.
And
I'll take an insight check, Yoshka.
Natural 20.
Josh, feel free to interpret.
Yeah, you see him kind of looking around and seeing everybody on the ground, and he looks up at you and looks down at his body, and you see him just get really calm and still, and he says in the voice of a small, sour man,
Unforgivable. Unacceptable. They will pay.
and you see him slap his fist into his hand.
Okay, let's go.
I'm already gone.
Splint is rightfully going to be very suspicious of this crow creature. So he's going to give him the side eye and swap his flute from a joyful song to what he thinks is more of a suspicious note. In reality, it's misery, but, you know, it's his perception of it.
Yeah, and likewise, Diamondback is going to call back the snake and give it slightly different instructions. No, never mind. He's just going to call it back, and now it's a staff again.
So I'm gonna take the rope and lead us on with the leopard going ahead of us.
So the way
I can talk to him for 10 minutes, and if he is going off the path a lot, I'll just use that 10 minutes to try to establish relations with him and get to know him a little bit, like how he moves and if he's going to be on our team and stuff.
Mm-hmm. The debris in front of you is impassable. There are it's a lot of whatever this was that has just crashed to the ground, presumably from above you. It's hard to know what's happening. But there are huge branches, lots of vines. Just it's you can't do it, and it seems to be into not just on the road, but like around, stretched out.
That's a good point, Aaron.
Aaron, you're muted, maybe, or
No,
She
I just
typed in
typed
the
it.
chat.
Impossible to
Oh.
a dinosaur. We're all riding a very huge thing.
you're all riding a horse-sized thing. He doesn't get to be huge.
Oh, darn.
Candidly, I didn't mean to leave any dinosaurs in Garrett's pack. I wasn't going to have any dinosaurs, so I'm nerfing it a little bit because dinosaurs would be overpowered for the environment. Just to say, I don't mind the dinosaur. I'm just saying that's why it's not like huge brontosauruses and stuff. But only 2 people can fit on the back, or 3. I'm letting 3 of you because it's the bird guy, Neno, and
The bird guy slides off. He's got 9 hit points. He's
Okay.
full. He's perfectly healed. He slides off and lands on his feet pretty spryly and says, "No thanks. I've always preferred to walk myself."
So now it's Neno and Orden on the back of this giant lizard. It is not passable for this lizard as well. You would use horses to drag stuff away. Teams. It's a lot of debris and bramble.
Wait, it's blocking our road?
So yes, this collection of everything crashed down in a wide swath off to the sides of the road, in the road. It's a large section. Whatever was up in the trees is now down. You heard these howls and groanings of orcs and humans and some kinds of animals.
Right.
Now you see
I remember.
the bodies of some of these creatures, dead, apparently, crushed and destroyed, lots of blood, and this one
Right.
you have healed. But you won't be able to just walk straight through. You might be able to climb it. It would take a while. Like you could try to make your way in the
Okay,
darkness.
but so the road in front of us is blocked.
It is blocked. For
Okay.
as far as you can tell. I mean, you can't see very far.
How flammable does this stuff appear to be?
Yeah, Diamondback sets it on fire.
Okay.
2 different approaches. Okay, yeah, Diamondback. What are you setting on fire?
Well, Diamondback starts trying to drag pieces of it away. Diamondback
hap-
doesn't set it on fire.
The fire isn't a bad, it'll attract things is what I'm worried
but,
about.
But like big giant fires don't leave behind clear paths after them. They leave behind like ultra hot ashes and char
And not
that you
for a
don't
while.
want to walk through. And
Yeah,
for
that's
like
true.
hours, we just don't have time. So Diamondback is going to be like, oh, our way is blocked. He's just going to start pulling at the stuff.
You hear on the sides of the roads, you still hear, as you have been, this creaking groaning, which has increased in its frequency and fervor. Diamondback is attempting to clear the road.
I think this guy runs over to next to Diamondback and starts just kind of like firebolt, 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 firebolt
With
Can we
the intent to do what?
to clear the way. He's trying to, or I guess would Eldritch Blast be better because that's like he can blast away with magic.
Those are fine with either one of those would work well. Firebolt would have the effect of breaking, like the portion you aim at. It could break a branch. Eldritch Blast would have more of like blow the branch away. A couple of feet.
That's what he's doing. But like he does that 4 times. I just 4 times in a row.
Yeah, you make a decent dent into this blockage, but you can't tell how much further it is. But you and Diamondback are making some headway.
Yeah, I'm
Can
just
we see
dragging
on the other side of this debris?
Unfortunately, you can't, but you also can't see very far.
That's true. Okay.
Yeah, so Diamondback is also going to whip off his fur coat and like tuck it into his trousers.
Mm-hmm.
to be able to see better while working.
You hear a, check out the muscles on this guy.
And what are the rest of you doing?
Diamondback, can your snake find a way around for us?
I'm afraid it's not that smart.
Okay, so while we're going to take our 10-minute break here. We've been right on time this whole evening, which is great. We'll come back at 9:05. You can feel free to, try to think of what you might have your characters do as we go. And I will bring us into the next episode in 10 minutes. So thanks, everybody, for listening. Well, actually, let me do my outro real quickly. That's where we'll end this episode. Thanks for listening. You can get more details about the world and the story we're telling at thestarfallcollective.com. Make sure that we're not muted. Good, we're not. This is The Dying of the Light, Season 3 of the Starfall Collective. The Starfall Collective is a collaborative storytelling group using the Dungeons & Dragons game system as a vehicle for creating rich and compelling stories in a fictional world that we've been developing together for a while. You can find out more about the collective, as well as the stories we're telling, at the starfallcollective.com. We're back with another episode. Let's find out who's in this episode. I'm Sir Robert Burbridge, a father and entrepreneur, and I'm the host of this season's story. With me tonight are a few friends playing the characters in this drama. Please say your name, something about yourself if you like, and a very brief description of the character that you're playing. We've got a new character with us tonight. We will start with Josh, who has this new character.
Hi, I'm Josh. I am playing a character named Inkatink, and he is a Kinku. Kinkus have not been seen in the Starfall Collective, but they exist in our world and derive most of their stats and attributes from the D&D Beyond canon about Kinku, which is why I have not been able to talk in my own voice. This will be fun to roleplay, and I welcome the challenge. When I'm not taking on Herculean roleplay burdens, I am out squatching with my dogs by the river or doing web development stuff like Mr. Talamini.
And Belvari?
Hi, I'm Belvari. I'm a human druid.
Okay. Aaron Joy?
Hey, I play Neno. She's a grandmother. She has been recently exiled. She is on the biggest outdoor adventure of her life, and she is ready for a nap. But not right this minute.
Good. Patrick?
Hi, my name is Patrick. I will be playing the character Toll, and the Monty Hall problem has given me trust issues.
All right. And Splint? Jacob?
Hello, my name is Jacob, and Splint is an avid fan of wind instruments, the capabilities of which are able to provoke such vivid emotions as rage and restraint.
Okay. Diamondback? Matt?
Hey, my name is Matthew Talamini. I'm a writer and web developer based in Providence, Rhode Island. You can find my stuff at MatthewTalamini.com. That's Matthew, TALAMINI.com. I'm playing the shirtless wizard Diamondback, now genuinely shirtless. I have an eternal flame spell flickering on my shoulders in a very cool Chris Angel gothy way. And that is what you need to know about me.
That's right. He is basically this world's tribute to the Bengals. Yoshka, Jared, why don't you go next?
I'm playing Yoshka. He's he's a human bard, and he looks kind of Russian.
And maybe a little road weary?
Maybe.
All right. In our last episode, we ended with the introduction of Inkatink. They have not actually found out his name yet, so neither the players nor characters know that. They have just found him in what appears to be the decrepit ruins of something from the treetops. There are a number of Inkatink's kin, perhaps kith at least, who are strewn about in the rubble of whatever has collapsed. Though badly wounded, he himself, Inkatink himself, does not seem to have perished like all of the others of his kind that you have seen so far. We rejoin the party as they are trying to understand how they can get through whatever fell from the trees, where all of these random people were screaming, orcs and humans and halflings and whatever. Whatever fell from the trees was fairly large and has blocked a goodly portion of the road and the as far as they can tell, the forest around. The trees, sorry, not the trees, the forest all around is groaning and creaking in increasing fervor and pitch. And Belvari has transformed into a large kind of shelled lizard creature. What would y'all like to do? Oh, and sorry, and Diamondback and Inkatink have been attempting to push some branches and stuff by. They've made about 8 feet of progress in a few minutes. It's taken a little bit. 8 feet of progress into these brambles, pushing them somewhat to the side.
If there's
Toll
any
has. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Toll has 5 casts of Misty Step. So we could teleport up on top of the stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean it's not exactly like a mound, but yeah, you could find a perch towards the top. You would have, if you're on some, let's say, log or set of brambles, you would, you still have to go kind of up and down through all the stuff if you can keep getting up top to get through.
See if you can get past it in 50 or 60 feet. It would be worth knowing how far it goes.
Well, I can teleport 20 feet if I'm standing
20.
right next to you.
Because it has to be a spot he can see.
And if I teleport that 20 feet, I won't be able to see any further unless I take the torch with me.
You could take the torch and leave the Misty Step with us, and then either tell us to come to you or come back to us.
I think Diamondback is going to start scrambling, trying to just climb over it. Just see if I can climb over it, and maybe there will be a way for me to help the others over if they can't get over. But impassable, it doesn't seem to be like a sheer cliff face. I could make an attempt to climb it.
Yeah, roll me an athletics check. Let's do acrobatics check, actually, because there's a lot of, footwork and everything, with disadvantage because it's not quite pitch black, but it's black.
Can Inkatink take the help action and basically plant himself and put his hands in a stirrup to give Diamondback a good solid starting point?
Not in this case. You'd be able to start him off, but there's he's going to try to make progress up a climbing thing. Okay. You can see Diamondback. You've got dim light to 20 feet.
Right. Okay.
So just for the record, Neno is not sitting idly watching other people wrestle logs. She hopped down all 3.5 feet of herself and has wrestled along with them.
Okay, good.
Yeah, Toll will help as well.
So my total is going to be 15 for this attempt to climb.
Is that athletic? Oh, sorry, acrobatics?
That is acrobatics with disadvantage.
Okay. Here's what I'm going to do.
Wow, really good.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Quite lucky.
Yeah, sure. And I have to pull up your character sheet so I can see your movement and stuff. Here we go.
30 feet.
Mm-hmm. Diamondback, 30 feet. All right. You actually... whoops.
But I'm not trying to climb it in 6 seconds. I'll take.
Yeah.
I'll take as long as it takes.
Yeah. You spend several minutes. You're checking your footholds and everything, and in about 5 minutes, you're able to. What happens is you climb up. Doesn't seem to be anywhere you can really squeeze through. At least not anywhere that seems safe at all. Every time you put weight, stuff shifts a little bit. It's intertwined things. But in the 5 minutes, you're able to climb up and over the main kind of face in front of you. It's not like a cliff face, but it's the brambles and stuff. And you can see on the other side, this same kind of sort of wild structure goes up and down. You'd have to climb through. It does look like it's probably traversable. You can't see how far. For the 20 feet you can see when you're on the top, there's at least 20 feet of stuff, but that doesn't tell you everything. Your guess is to get as far as you can see would probably take about an hour.
What if I cast Spiritual Weapon and made that weapon something really big. Could we clear the debris faster if I was using that?
I don't know. Let me look up spiritual weapon.
Something like a scythe. You could just make it
Or a
keep
maul.
slashing.
Yeah, like something just really big that clears a large swathe.
You create a floating spectral weapon within range. When you cast the spell, it makes a melee attack against a creature within 5 feet of the weapon. On a hit, the target takes force damage. Let's see. You can move the weapon up to 20 feet and attack a creature within 5 feet of it. The weapon
I can only attack a creature.
All right, guys, this is okay. I read this in a splat book. We just summon a hamster in each place that we want the spiritual weapon to attack, and thereby, by proxy, it attacks the vegetation, right? Or, okay, never mind.
I mean, it doesn't say a living creature. You said there are creatures in the debris, so we could desecrate some corpses.
Yeah, but I mean, in D&D 5e, you can attack random stuff. It has armor class and hit points.
Yeah,
That's true.
I am okay with that. Just to give you a sense, if you're cutting through trees and lumber, think about the difficulty of using an axe to cut a tree down.
Yeah.
I'm just giving you a sense of what's in front of you. It's not like a tree.
Yeah. I don't know. Should we bludgeon the debris? Or should we try to cut it?
Maybe we should go back to the bonfire plan. Or the firebolts, just firebolting ourselves a path through it.
I don't think we have enough. That's like 40 feet.
So Diamondback is going to, well, I'm sort of perched up on top of it.
Does
What's up,
Inkatink, Sir Robert, does Inkatink have the thing that you and I talked about?
Yes, but I didn't get a chance to add it to your inventory yet.
Diamondback, if you have floating lights, if only Splint could like cast that and we could send a light ahead and see how far things are.
That's a good idea.
Josh, I'm going to look up that thing real quickly so I can get the details.
Okay.
So
I mean, it's up to you.
Yeah.
You know the basic effect that I'm going for.
I do.
Diamondback calls says down to Yoshka, who's presumably at the bottom, and I explained what I can see, saying it goes a lot further. At the rate we were breaking it up, it would take at least an hour to get through. Do you think that it may be best to try and go around? Although that would take us through the woods.
And we may get lost.
Bird friend, what are we fleeing?
I think he kind of looks at you and he cocks his head and he's wringing his hands and he says, "Discretion is the better part of valor, my dear. We gotta skedaddle."
Do you have any ideas, Bird?
Was that Christopher Walken?
He's
Only
a
if he
very
doesn't have a
famous.
car.
You'll find out. I don't know. Maybe you will. Sir Robert, do you have anything to
I do.
say?
1 second. I'm sorry. I'm working really hard, but sorry, y'all. Give me a quick pause here.
Patrick, what was Toll's question or comment?
Toll didn't have anything to say. I was asking as Patrick if that was Christopher Walken.
Okay.
Nina is wondering if anybody has anything for tunneling underground.
I was thinking if there was anybody else who had one more enlarged reduced component in their pouches, we could maybe Belvari could transform into an animal that would be able to dig, and we could make it huge and it could dig us a tunnel.
That might be a good idea.
Or it could just dig through the stuff. If it can dig through packed dirt under the road, it can dig through, trees and garbage.
So the little raven guy walks over to Yoshka and says, "How much rope?"
Well, I have 50 feet here. Does anybody else have rope?
Diamondback holds up I forget how much because I did use some. I have some, and I hold it up. 50 feet. I have 50 feet too.
Inkatink grabs the thing of rope, just like snatches it very quickly out of Yoshka's hand, and runs over and snatches the rope out of Diamondback's hand. If either
no,
of you guys...
Diamondback will toss it down to you because Diamondback is up on top of the stuff.
Oh, okay, yeah. He jumps up in the air and catches it, and his hands come flying down. You see, it's this really large, really robust knot that he did in like 0 seconds flat. And he kind of cranes his neck and looks around, and you see him rummage around in his pouch for some cantrips. And he looks up to heaven. And anybody else can do anything, but he's just standing there staring up at the sky.
So, yes, you do have this item, Josh.
Okay.
And it can you can use it once a day, and it's for 10, not 1.
Okay, cool, very cool. You see him stand there and kind of close his eyes for a second, and he doesn't have a mouth that can smile and stuff, but you could swear he looks like happy for a second. And then you see his feet lift up off the ground, and you see his kind of hands kind of shiver, and his body gets kind of straight, and he glides up into the air, not like a bullet or anything, but pretty fast. And he takes this rope with him, and he starts making kind of a rocket arc up and over the brush that Diamondback is climbing up. Or at least, I guess he flies up to Diamondback and kind of points up and salutes, and then he keeps going past him.
Well, I'm going to hold loosely onto the other end, and with a mind to holding onto the end of that rope. Unless not really knowing what he's doing.
Is Inkatink gonna like swing it over a branch that's high up, and now we've got a pendulum, a rope swing that we could use to launch ourselves over?
Inkatink, narrate what you do. They're watching you. You're doing something they can't do, and it's taking you. You've got a few minutes to do this. 10 minutes if you want. You narrate what you do.
So Inkatink flies up. How high does he have to go to get over this debris?
Only about, in places, depending on exactly what, but 10, 20 feet. Like, you're not having to go really high, but it is kind of a good long distance. Not terribly long, but, it's not like 5 feet wide. You can't see the end of it, but how long is your rope?
100 feet.
Okay.
So he goes up 10, 20, does 80 feet by the time he gets to 80 feet. Mm-hmm. Is that enough?
If you go the length of the rope, Yoshka is standing on one side holding the end, and you are standing on the other side holding the end.
Okay. In that case, he's gonna go up to the top, to the highest point that he can get it at the end, so that they're kind of always at least going up, and it can always get them up and over stuff.
Okay. And so it's the rope.
So he's gonna tie it to a sturdy tree and make it fast, and then fly back.
It's a good idea.
Roll me, Inkatink. Roll me a. This is a tricky. Sorry, where's my mouse cursor? There it is. This is a slightly tricky one. Why don't you roll me animal handling?
Animal handling.
It's not quite right, but it's the closest I could get.
I don't know whether to be offended. Okay. Apparently, I have no bonus in this, so thank goodness I rolled a 16. 16 flat.
Okay. Then I'm going to get disadvantage. That's how I'm going to interpret this on this roll. Does a 12 hit you?
No, it does not.
Okay.
It ping and scrapes off of me.
You get up to the branch, and you hear a loud creak and groan, and the branch attempts to just swat at you. You feel like it's not safe to do that, but you could try again. You managed to dodge it.
Okay.
You don't tie the rope to it. You didn't get to that time.
Can I use a minor illusion to light that tree up with like green illusory flame?
Yeah.
It won't do any damage to it, but it'll just...
If you can use minor illusion.
Yeah, I've got the cantrip for it.
Okay. Go for it. Tell me what you do.
I make the tree just suddenly kind of dance in green flame, and I try to... Is there any way to go around it? Is it perfectly in my way?
Oh, no, you just went up to a branch to tie the knot onto a branch.
Oh, okay.
And you got close.
I gotcha.
That's what you said, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so when you got close, it tried to bat at you.
So do I need to make some sort of animal handling check to try, or nature check to try to find a tree that's not alive and wants to hurt me?
You may do that.
Okay. In that case, if I'm going to make a nature check to try to find a friend-shaped tree, or at least...
give me an averaged nature and investigation.
Okay, so for nature, I got... Oh, it's so close to a 20, but it was a 2. Oh, robbed. And then investigation. Fate is not with me. A 4.
Okay, you found a really good candidate. Do you want to fly up and tie a knot to it?
Absolutely, I do.
Okay. Great. Roll me an animal handling check.
My
As it
friends
surprises
call me
you.
Whiskers. I'm curious like a cat.
Making an animal handling check here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. I rolled a 10.
Okay.
Boy, how exceptional.
And does a 14 hit you?
No, it does not. You hear a not quite metallic, but a very clean kind of hard on hard sound as it scrapes off of them.
The safe tree that you found bats at you again with your 2 and 4 rolls.
Tough crowd. Ugh.
It has been...
So we can't...
Sorry, real quickly. It has been about 6 or 7 minutes, Inkatink, that you've been...
Cool.
You do know that the rope will reach all the way to the other side. You do know that you could tie it to a tree if you can find one. And you can take it back to Yoshka if you want.
He's going to, one more time, try to find a good tree. So
roll me an averaged nature and investigation.
Okay, for nature, got a 19.
Okay.
And for investigation, come on, 12.
Good.
Nice. So
all right.
16.
Roll me your animal handling.
One more chance to screw it all up. It's a 4.
All right. And does a 19 hit you?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. You take...
Oh, no. He's going to die.
This is the shortest lived character that will ever exist in the history of this game.
No. You take 5 damage. What happens is
Close.
you fly up to this tree, and you're trying hard to help these guys, right? You got this rope, and you want to tie it to a tree. You're really bent on tying it to a tree, and and
right, you are. Ding ding ding.
You manage to dodge really well because you're in a great mood. You're flying around this tree. Last minute, you don't expect it. You find one, and you can tell that it's kind of awakened, but you think it might be sleepy or something. But you get up close to it, and it just suddenly surprises you. Instead of rearing back like the other ones have to slap, it just hits you, it just bops you. It only does a little bit of damage, but actually it bats you all the way to the ground, and that's where you you hit the ground with a big thud on your side. You feel a little dislocated in several parts, and your bones make a hollow kind of thumping sound against the ground. However, you are standing on the far side. It has batted you down. You are standing on the far side of the thing. You have about a minute or two left.
He is going to summon every shred of courage and just tie it to something. So I think he's going to go one last.
When you say tie it to something, do you mean tie it to a tree, or are you going to tie it to the brambles in front of you?
No, just to something up high. He's going to try one last time. And this time I think he's just going to...
Won't it be better to tie it to something on the ground, then we can just climb over it using the rope to pull ourselves along?
Yeah, I think he's... All right, just whatever's closest. He'll just tie it to whatever's closest that looks like it's sturdy.
So you can tie it to the highest branch you can find that seems to be safe from where you are is a branch on the top of this rubble where you are. So it's about 10 feet off the ground. It's about the opposite of where Diamondback was.
Okay.
You tie
He'll
that
fly
there.
up to it and tie that up.
Yeah, and you've got a minute or less left. What do you want to do?
Okay. He'll book it back over to where they are, and do it with him on foot, but at least he can be a guide.
Yeah.
So.
Can I see the rope?
Yoshka's holding the end close to you guys.
So Yoshka's on one side of the blockage, and our Kenku friend has tied it off on the other side of the blockage. And
you don't know that yet. He hasn't told you. All he did was fly over and fly back.
Right, but I'm standing on top of the blockage, so I can see the rope sitting on top of the blockage.
You can, but it goes off into the darkness. He's about 80 to 100 feet past you.
Okay.
He flies back, and so he's kind of hovering over where Diamondback is, and he kind of starts to land grab onto the rope up at the very top, and he says,
"Well, don't just stand there, you fools! Climb! Hurry up!" Sorry.
In a little old lady voice, he said,
Sorry, dears.
I call down and I say, you'll be able to see to climb. I'll go first, but climb up to where I am, and then me and the Kenku will go ahead, and we'll go piece by piece like that, so that they'll have light to see by as they climb.
So he's going to spam light in a line down the rope.
He's going to use his components to cast a light spell?
Yeah.
Okay.
How many times would I need to do that? Like 4 or 5 times?
Let's call it 5 to get
good.
There's a little row of lights hovering above the rope, maybe 8 feet above the rope. Yoshka, you are now holding one end of this rope. It's getting a little tough to hold with the... You know that if you pull on it really hard, it's not coming. But it's getting a little tough to hold with a Kenku hanging from it.
I'm going to see if I can loop it around any branches around on our side, and then I'm going to look over to Belvari and say, "Well, Dino, do you have a better way to go than this?"
Belvari responds with silence.
Trademark Belvari.
Who's on? I guess. Who can take the? I guess I'll take Orin. Do you guys want to go first?
And Orden is happy for that, and he clambers down and over to you.
Although he is a strapping 14, 15-year-old tiny halfling guy, he can do a little bit of clambering on his own.
Yeah, he's probably able to do the rope. He's about 14 years old.
I thought he was like 8. Okay.
No. We're looking for a super buff 8-year-old. Super buff. Real big buff 8-year-old kid. Real big. Huge.
He's just been so timid, but if he seems like he'll do it, I'll totally just let him do it.
Yeah, he's game.
I mean, a halfling could probably do it better than me.
He doesn't want to go first. Yoshka, so you tie the rope somewhere onto a branch?
Yeah.
Okay. You can go ahead and start trying to climb if you like.
Let's all go
on the rope.
I do so.
Where are you tying?
So he's tying it to a branch on his side.
Oh, okay.
So Inkatink, you're taking the lead. You've already been the rope. Is that right?
Yeah, Inkatink leans over to where he can see everybody and whistles like a real shrill, attention-catching whistle and says,
The trees are trying to kill you.
you hear two different voices.
And Inkatink, I'm just going to tell you this, Josh. I'm going to have you roll a couple of athletics checks to do this stuff. You're going to have disadvantage because you're severely wounded if you just go right now. Just telling you.
Okay. I think he's going to wait where he is and see if anyone can heal him then.
Okay. Diamondback, do you want to take off?
Yeah, I can't heal him, so...
Okay. So you're going to go in what order? First Diamondback, then...
I mean, Diamondback has his own light, so he's sort of feels like he should go first, and maybe he'll scout ahead a little bit.
And Inkatink has put balls of light every maybe 15 feet above the rope.
That's nice.
Yeah, just telling you.
Dim light plus dim light in this very, very thick fog.
Is dim light.
It's got to be... It's still dim light.
Yeah.
Slightly less dim light.
But maybe it'll be helpful.
Yeah, so Diamondback, who's next after Diamondback?
Neno has offered healing word to Inkatink.
Yeah, as soon as I see he's not climbing up, I'm going to suspect he's injured and ask him about it.
He makes kind of a human coughing sound and says, "Now, how about a hand?"
And she doesn't even say anything else. She just casts healing word and calls it a day.
Oh, aren't you nice, dear?
Neno, how many of those components do you have left? I might just give you the rest of them.
Healing word, I've got enough for one more. And cure wounds, I've got enough for 3 more.
And how many hit points do I get back? I'm sorry.
1d8 plus 2.
Oh, okay, cool.
She'll roll it, or I will roll it.
Okay.
Whatever.
She can roll.
I'm rolling now.
Yeah, so I have
Nice. Thank you very much.
I have 5 more cure wounds components, so that's good for 2.5 more casts. And your spellcasting modifier is higher than mine, so I'm happy to give those to you.
Thank you.
He kind of does a flourish with a hand, and it looks like there should be a cape there, but there's no cape. And he does a little flourish, and he leans down, and he makes a kind of a sound over your hand, and he says, "Can I just say, enchanted to meet you."
So,
likewise, sir.
I would like everybody to roll an athletics check. I'm going to have you roll 3 of these as you go across.
Okay, before we do that, can I give my 5 broad-backed falcon downs to Neno?
Go for it.
I also I'm going to take up the rear and I'm going to say to the leopard, asking him, "Can you go over this?"
He doesn't make a sensible response, but he sort of prowls around the edge. You get the impression that he's looking, like he's checking.
Jeez, I got a 3 on the athletics check.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a 4.
So the
if you want, you can ride on my back. I got a 24.
I got a 17 3 times in a row.
Belvar, your lizard is not going to be able to
7.
use this rope at all.
Wait.
You're going to have to leave your form if you want to use the rope.
Did you say athletics or acrobatics?
Athletics. The DC here is 8, so if you rolled an 8 or better, you're good. Who did not roll an 8 or better? And Belvari, what do you want to do about your form?
I guess I'll change out of my form.
Okay. Diamond, Matt, you got a less than 8?
Yeah, Toll got less than 8 too. Do I roll all 3 even if I got under?
No, just the first one here. And then, so the other ones
got
you
a
went ahead.
7.
What'd you get?
Also a 7.
Splint got a 7.
Wow, y'all are
8 minus 1.
Y'all are not doing super awesome on these. I'm surprised. And I'm going to check your. Hold on. It's when you fall off this rope, which is what's happening. Your the max height you're doing is 20 feet, and I'm going to roll for when you fall. What that is. All of you get the same on each one. Let's see. I'm just trying to see if there's fall damage. How do you calculate it? Anybody know that off the top of their head?
Thought it was
It's
1d6
per 10 feet that you fall.
Okay.
After, I think, like 10, 20 feet, I think.
Uh-huh.
There's like 20 feet, which is 1d4 or something, and then the rest is 1d6 per 10 feet. There's some sort of threshold.
Okay. Well, we'll just do it this way then. Because there's brambles, you're not falling like the full distance. Every time you fail, just roll a 1d4. So if you just failed that one, take 1d4 damage. You're able to clamber back up, but it's not smooth. You know,
All right.
a little hurty.
Youch.
4?
4 damage.
A huge thorn just opens up a vein.
Oh, wait. No, that was a
Three
D6.
total.
Got
All right. If everybody's ready, go ahead and roll your next one.
Sorry, is this the second one or the third one?
You're kidding.
second one.
Second one.
Athletics, right?
It is athletics again. Splint rolled a 2.
I don't understand. This isn't how this works.
I got an 18 that time. Okay.
Phew.
I think that's the first higher than 10 roll I've had.
Wow.
Nice.
You're
Welcome to the
you.
good times. Savor them. They'll be over soon.
I should place some bets tonight. I don't think it can get any worse.
Is everybody ready for the third roll? Sorry, what'd you get?
No,
Ann?
I got a 0 on this.
Oh,
A 0 on a. What is a 0?
I think she's got like a
-2.
minus.
It
Oh,
must
she's
be
got
a
a minus
1
or
or
2.
1. I mean, technically, you can't get a 0, so I don't know what D&D Beyond is telling us.
She probably rolled a 1, but her strength is really low or something, so she has a
Rolled
minus 1.
Yeah.
Rolled a 2 and has a -2.
Okay.
Probably.
So while she's doing that, I will. Is everybody ready for your third roll? Did you take your damage? Do whatever.
Yep.
Okay. Do your
Yeah.
third roll, and we're gonna get across if we can.
Can't be bad 3 times in a row. I was wrong.
I got a 6, so I'm taking another 4 damage. Ouch. Diamondback is
These
Yes,
rolls are amazing.
not very badly hurt. He's pretty tough and wiry and now, but he's not looking too good at the end of this blockage.
Okay. Now.
So I'm still on my second.
Yeah. You rolled a what now?
I rolled a 2 with -2 bonus.
Okay, so here's what happens when this is how this happens. So y'all are crawling across, and y'all are having a rough time of this. I mean, just by the rolls, it wasn't even it's DC 8, so it's amazing that there's so many that are falling. But you're getting scratched up. It's hurting you. You're getting wounded. But Neno, as you go, you you are climbing across this rope and accidentally slip. The damage you take is the same as before. It's a 1d4, so if you want to
I'll do that now.
do that. However, you also, as you fall down, your component pouch snags on something. The mechanism here is sort of like the river that y'all went through, remember?
Mm-hmm.
So, Neno, what I'd like you to do is roll me, if you will, 2d10.
This is not going to be good.
Come on, toothpicks.
19. Sorry, was that 2d10?
What?
Okay.
They are the high numbers that we wanted.
That's how many random components fall out of your pouch. I'll mark those in a minute.
Okay.
Your pouch spills open a little bit. 19 components fall out.
I should not have given her
That's right.
the
Yeah,
down
right.
of the broadback falcon.
That's right. Did everybody roll their third one except for Neno?
Yes.
Okay, Neno,
They
roll your
can't
third.
rain down downy falcon feathers.
That
Okay.
backfired spectacularly.
There's a 6. And now I take another D4 roll of damage.
You do. Yeah.
Jeez.
Why didn't you just crawl through it on the ground instead of climbing over? You wouldn't have kept falling.
Brutal.
There we are. I'm down to 2 of 9 hit points.
All right. Give me 1 second, and I'm going to do these. Actually, you know what? Okay. Great. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to just take these. You know what? I'm going to do this after. I'll take Neno's 19 after. It doesn't affect you really right now, I don't think. So you get to the end of this. And all of you get to the other side. None of you, or maybe 1 or 2 of you, unscathed. But this was a treacherous trek, way more than I expected. So you get to their side, and if y'all are ready to move on, it's 9:54, just to give y'all the time. So we're going to do a close up of what you see. But do y'all want to try to recover anything, get any healing, anything like that before we move on?
If you guys, depending on how badly hurt we are, we could do a short rest, and I can sing us songs that heals everybody 1d6.
We're at the town. We need to go.
We need to go.
You see him hopping up and down on either foot, and he's, discretion is the better part of valor. Or sorry, no. Discretion is the better part of valor. That's what it says.
Do y'all want to take a minute to heal, or do you want to just go?
I think we should heal.
Let's use what healing spells we can then.
Especially Neno, because Neno has 2.
I'll cast. I can sing a quick song that gives 4 people 5 temporary hit points.
That would be nice.
How temporary is temporary?
It just
Less than an hour until we're at the town if we don't run into anything else.
Yeah.
That's a ball and bard move to add 20 hit points to the pool. That's not bad. Nice.
So who's hurt the worst? I'll do it for Neno, and who else is really hurt?
Toll is down to 6.
Okay, and Toll? 2 others?
I'm down to 8.
And Diamondback? Anybody else lower than 10? Okay,
I
Inkatink?
am at 5.
Nope. No. Him, Splint.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 5 temporary hit points.
Yeah.
Whew.
Wow.
So they
How do
stay
we
with...
represent that?
You could
There's
probably...
a temporary hit points thing in D&D Beyond.
Current max
To the
temp.
right.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, they
Yeah.
really thought that through, didn't they?
It's not a fever
They
tracker.
did indeed.
Where did you say that was?
You can probably just...
To the-
if you're that
to
low,
the
you
right
can
of
probably
your
just add them
back.
to your hit points, because they go away only after a long rest, in which case you'll be healed up. So
So you can just heal for 5 if you're
Yeah,
down.
but if we get attacked, it does work differently. So it's just to the right of your max. It says current max and then temp.
Oh, yep.
All right. I'm going to narrate us out of this episode. I assume y'all are going to travel in the same basic travel order that you were before. Inkatink is now in your group. Where are you in this travel order?
I think he's right beside. I would imagine that Diamondback is out front because he's got the light, and Inkatink has
Yoshka?
his hand rummaged.
Yoshka, Diamondback, Splint, Toll, Belvari, and Neno was riding on Toll's shoulders, and Yoshka had Orden.
Okay, then I'll just go walk next to Diamondback.
Okay, so you're next to him, second place, second in order. Okay, so you continue to move quickly. The trees are groaning as they have been. By your best estimate, notwithstanding the... Sorry, Jared, did you want to say something?
we can talk about it next time.
Okay, so the trees are groaning and moaning, and you're starting to see them kind of sway whenever you can catch a glimpse of them. Those of you who have light. Diamondback, have you put your fur back on, or are you still bare-shouldered?
I've put my fur back on.
Okay.
And yeah. That's all.
Okay, so only Yoshka can see. Yoshka, you can see the trees swaying as though there are some pretty brisk winds, and there's this groaning happening as that's going along. You travel through the night. You still are hearing sounds in the distance. You hear an occasional crash like you did before. There's one after 15 minutes, something like that, and then and you hear the noise of creatures in the distance. It's not a lot of creatures, and when you hear a certain number, you hear several of them, you'll hear the groaning again, and the creatures stop. Whatever's going on out there, it is making sure that the woods are at least not loud. You're not sure what's happening, but you might have some guesses. You travel for about 45 minutes, maybe an hour, and ahead of you, you come around this kind of it's like not a hairpin. It's more of like a rounded right angle. This rounded right angle turn that you recognize, and thankfully, here's what you see. There is there are about 6 or 7 lights swinging in the distance. They're far enough away as before that they're not illuminating anything that you can see, but you can see that there are some lights out there. They're about where you're guessing the road would be, maybe 60 feet ahead of you, 60, 80 feet ahead of you. And you can also see, to your surprise, there are shafts of... when they reach you, they're not very bright, but there are shafts of what you can tell must be pretty bright lights coming through little tiny cracks and crevices in this shape. The shape that you see is like a giant rounded wall bulging on the sides with little shafts of light as though there's some bright light source inside it. Your best guess, it kind of looks almost like a basket that's big enough for, I don't know, houses to be within. Splint and Toll in particular, this is a strange look to you, and Inkatink, but you hear Yoshka and Diamondback and Belvari and Neno have a sort of positive response to this.
There it is, at last. We'll stay there.
You also hear... Go ahead, Splint.
Splint is just gonna act like he's yes, it's the thing that we're supposed to do something at. Yes, of course. How could I have forgotten / unremembered it?
So, it's good. And as you come up to this, you see this in the distance. You see the lights, and the lights are seeming to swing around outside of this basket, this giant basket wall thing. So you're not sure what that's about, but you do hear 4 distinct sounds. Aaron Joy, you back?
I'm back. In time to hear the words distinct sounds.
You see the lights shining through this basket, which you're so grateful for, and you see other small lights that are not illuminating anything because they're far away, but you can see them like torches or lanterns or something outside of that basket. And you hear 4 distinct sounds all happening at once. First, the first thing your ear picks up on is the slow tolling of a bell. Dong, dong, dong.
Dang, it's a hard world. You're a monster.
The second thing that you hear, your ear picks up on next, is shouting you seem to hear something like one person shouting, "Open! Open it! Let us in!" And another person, a voice you recognize actually, most of you, saying, "Oh, yeah, you understand? I can't yet. Take a look. Take a look. I want to. I certainly would, but take a look." And hearing that, you can't see what's happening there, but you also hear this infrequently intermitting, we'll call it a thud, but it's as though something large is slamming into something else large. And the last thing that you hear, the last thing that you notice, you're hearing all of these together, is the sound of, the best you can tell, it's hollow logs, like not regular logs, like specifically hollow logs pounding against each other, almost musically or rhythmically or something. And once in a while they stop, like after a couple of seconds they stop, and then you can definitely hear the aborted scream of pain from someone outside the wall. That's where we'll end this episode. Thanks for listening. You can get more details about the world and the story we're telling at the starfallcollective.com. Let's do experience.
Wow, sir, that was a terrific end of an episode. Holy wow, Batman.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
You hear the vivid sound of someone crushing large, thick melons in a field.
That's right.
And then realize those aren't melons.
Let's do some experience. You found Inkatink, and Inkatink survived. You
found me.
That's right. You dealt with the leopard, and Yoshka, you have noticed by now that the leopard was not, in the time at least that you've been traveling, it didn't catch up to you. It may have, we'll find out if something happens, but maybe not. Maybe it just wasn't able to get over.
Yeah. In the interest of time, that was the thing I wanted to say, but it looked like we didn't have enough time, so
sure,
we can figure it out. But I wanted to go slow enough across to make sure it came with me.
Yeah.
So we can deal with that, however.
I'll just roll a die. We'll do it next episode, and I'll see if it, if it made it or not. I don't have a opinion about how that should unfold.
Cool.
So you dealt with the leopard. You dealt with the big giant thing in the way. You actually had some tree. I'll call it combat, sort of, from Inkatink. And so your total experience is...
Man, I'm missing it. Where's the hotkey for getting to editing your experience?
I know this now. Go up to your name and this little gear sign. Took me like 18 weeks to find it.
I think you're set on milestones, Inkatink.
Okay. I'll figure it out. Thanks.
Yeah. So you each get in this set of encounters, and there was one encounter that just to let you know, there's one encounter in the brambles that you evaded. So good job with the rope.
How?
Goodness.
Like all of us rolled. I rolled every roll less than that's not.
Well, we avoided it by going over.
It was your solution, not the execution.
Yeah, the thing is, most of us didn't go over. We kind of went up and down.
That's fair.
Just kind of dragged
like a fondue.
Along.
We traveled, but we're dipped repeatedly.
Yeah.
So you got 178 experience each.
Ooh, I love it. I only need 600 more experience.
And you'll be level what?
I'll be level 4.
Nice.
Need 122 to get to level 2.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. I'm gonna pull us out. I cast that so everybody else could hear, so the audience could hear the experience.